The nightmarish scene repulsed Sevyn. The flickering torches cast grotesque, shifting shadows over the rough, blood-spattered stone walls, making monstrous shapes that seemed to crawl and writhe in the corners. Every breath he drew tasted of ash, old smoke, and something sickly sweet, decay masked by incense. The grim atmosphere pressed in on him, dark and suffocating, as if the very room itself sought to squeeze the courage from his bones. After carefully placing the coffin, a grotesque vessel housing the ghoul, on the cold wrought-iron operating table, Pollux began to fasten the heavy leather straps around it with mechanical precision. The casket, engraved with ancient symbols of confinement and torment, sparked to life with a flick of his wrist. Flames licked hungrily at the casket, the searing heat and acrid smoke jolting the unconscious ghoul awake. As the casket crumbled to ashes, its remnants scattered across the floor, the creature found itself strapped tightly to the operating table. Pollux, alongside Castor, moved with grim resolve, tightening the straps from head to toe, ensuring that the monstrous form was utterly immobilized. The ghoul's eyes, wide and clouded with confusion, flashed briefly with an ember of understanding as it realized the peril of its situation. Mr. Abgel stepped forward calmly, holding a thin scalpel that shone in the torchlight. "You can spare us the theatrics," he said, his voice cold. "I know a thing or two about ghouls. Fire may not harm your true form, but burning your human flesh is different. Once I burn away that part, the fire will lose its power, and we can move to the next step." His eyes showed both curiosity and a hunter's focus, revealing his deep knowledge of these creatures. "Look at that ghoul. Why is your father using a scalpel? He needs an axe or a cleaver," Sevyn said, his disbelief evident. "Just watch," Pollux snapped, voice taut as a wire. "Observe what?" Sevyn asked, his frustration growing. "Your father is acting like a surgeon with a demon. We need answers from this ghoul before he does something that ruins our chance." The tension in the room grew. Time seemed to slow, each second feeling like a countdown, as Mr. Abgel prepared for a procedure that might destroy their last hope. "My father is relentless. You need to trust us. We've hunted these monsters before. Don't you want revenge for your wife?" "Let us handle this," Pollux replied, his voice firm. "Enough! Silence! I need quiet to work," Mr. Abgel shouted, fixing them all with a cold stare. "Now where were we? Ah, yes. Let me tell you about these surgical instruments. Fate has brought us together in this grim way. You are on my operating table in this chapter of the Wu Shang Society, out of all the possible meetings. We call that fate. Look at this scalpel. This tool and the others I use were made especially for you and your kind. Many have heard of the 10 fallen angels, and most know their leader, Satan, the so-called lord of the demon realm. But few realize that many angels have also fallen from grace. My family has worked hard to recover the halos of these lost beings. Sadly, we have only managed to collect a few, though that number is still in the hundreds of thousands, Mr. Abgel explained, his voice taking on the rhythm of a practiced storyteller. My predecessors, driven by desperation and the whispers of ancient lore, embarked on a formidable quest, gathering the ethereal halos of fallen angels. With reverence and a tinge of madness, they melted these celestial remnants in a monumental cauldron, masterfully wrought from enchanted iron, glowing with an otherworldly aura. As the luminous amalgam reached a molten state reminiscent of liquid gold, they infused it with gallons of sacred holy water, creating a shimmering blend that sparkled like 1,000 stars trapped in a jeweled sea. From this molten elixir, they meticulously cast a myriad of blades, daggers, and instruments of torment, each piece a testament to craftsmanship that melded artistry with malevolence. Mr. Abgel explained to the ghoul. Among these sinister creations were the torturing blades, wickedly sharp and expertly designed to amplify suffering. Mr. Abgel brandished a minuscule scalpel, its edge catching the dim light and reflecting it, twisting the air with menace. "Imagine," he said slowly, his voice laced with an unsettling calm that sent chills down the spine, "if I were to make a small incision anywhere on your body, the anguish would transcend your wildest nightmares. You believe that burning the human flesh from your demonic form was a torment. Soon, you will yearn for that pain to be your only escape." The ghoul, shackled to the table with limbs ensnared in barbed restraints that glistened ominously, was a grotesque sight to behold. His pallid skin was stretched tight over angular bones, purple veins snaking beneath the surface, and his fingers, each tipped with cracked yellowed claws, twitched involuntarily against the cold, blood-spattered stone. The restraints dug deep into his flesh, leaving angry welts and oozing wounds that glistened in the torchlight. Despite the agony, he managed a dark, rasping chuckle, brushing aside Mr. Abgel's threats with a scoff, his mouth twisted into a sneer, exposing crooked, needle-like teeth stained by centuries of carnage. "Am I supposed to quake in fear before your empty threats?" he retorted, laughter bubbling up with mocking contempt, the sound echoing eerily through the chamber, a brittle mask for the dread lurking in his sunken, flickering eyes. Mr. Abgel's gaze was iron. "You're blissfully ignorant of your situation. Laugh, but those tears won't be from amusement." His voice dropped, cold as a death knell. "Let's skip bravado. Answer me plainly. Your cooperation means mercy. Refuse, and I have worse plans. Returning you to the demon realm in pieces is possible." He leaned in, the tension crackling. "You know Princess Valentina's identity. Let's not play games. Tell me, who killed her and where is her baby?" His words were cold and direct, promising profound consequences. The ghoul paused, feigning confusion. "I do not know any Princess Valentina. Should her name matter to me?" His confidence added to the growing tension. "You see, Mr. Abgel said, his voice low and deliberate, as if each word were a carefully honed weapon. I tried to give you a chance. Now, let me pose a more straightforward question, but heed my warning. If your answer displeases me, my son will have the opportunity to carve up his first ghoul. His hands may tremble, but I trust you won't find that to be a problem." The weight of his threat hung heavily in the air, a palpable tension thickening the atmosphere. The ghoul, once a proud warrior, with pallid skin and sunken eyes, flickering with uncertainty, replied, "What do you wish to know? I've told you, I don't know Princess Valentina. Why should her fate matter to me?" His bravado cracked, fear showing beneath it. Mr. Abgel leaned in slightly, the intensity of his gaze unwavering. "I suppose we are making some progress. Valentina is the daughter of a king in the demon realm," he said, allowing each word to settle like a heavy stone. The ghoul scoffed. "If she's a princess, why is she outside the palace without protection? How could she disappear unnoticed? I know nothing about this. Why are you asking me about matters of the demon realm? It doesn't concern humans," he said, defensive and suspicious, deepening the mystery. Castor, calm amidst the tension, turned to Pollux. "He does raise good questions." Pollux shook his head, alarm in his eyes. "The points are valid, but this creature is from the demon realm. We can't trust anything it says. It's trying to deceive us." "I hope Papa isn't fooled," he said, voice tense with distrust. Mr. Abgel pressed on, unwavering. "That's true. But once a crime happens here, it's a human issue. Who ordered you to attack us? Was it Detective Knight of the NOPD? His voice cut through the tension. "If a rival demon killed a princess, it would spark chaos and possibly war," the ghoul warned, his voice low, hinting at catastrophic consequences. "Mr. Abgel leaned forward, a flicker of suspicion knitting his brows together. His tone was urgent, almost frantic, as he pressed the ghoul for answers. "What about your orders? Who commanded you to attack us? Was it Detective Knight? The intensity of his voice pierced the tension, a sharp contrast to the ghoul's morose demeanor. The ghoul's response was swift, his defiance crackling in the air like static electricity. "I serve no one but myself. I act solely for my own gain," he declared, a glint of rebellion sparkling in his eyes. Was it Detective Knight who ordered the attack? Mr. Abgel's voice rose in exasperation, the tension in the room palpable, coiling tighter with each moment. "Detective Knight? Who's that?" The ghoul's reply dripped with a curious inflection, momentarily breaking through his stoic facade. He tilted his head slightly, as if contemplating a riddle wrapped in mystery. "See, progress," Mr. Abgel muttered, irritation rising. "Chance, get me that picture of Detective Knight. We'll see if our friend recognizes him." Chance retrieved a worn photo, the ghoul and Detective Knight, smiling. Mr. Abgel folded the picture, presenting it to the ghoul with a searching glare. "So you don't know this guy?" "Never seen that guy a day in my life," the ghoul replied, his tones soaked in a fabricated confidence that barely masked the tension crackling like electricity in the air around them. "I was hoping you wouldn't say that," Mr. Abgel shot back, disappointment mingling with suspicion in his voice. "Why are you in this photo with Detective Knight if you claim not to know him? You look like your friends smiling together." "Wait, I can explain," the ghoul stammered, bravado slipping away. "There's no need for explanations. You've already said enough," Mr. Abgel interrupted.